Hello and welcome back to my videos. Today I decided that I would turn my original character Aria into a magical girl. Before I get too far into the video, I would like to mention that this is a character from a game that I am currently developing. If you're interested in her or any of my other characters, you should totally follow along to see how my game turns out. Alright, let's get into talking about this drawing. So a little while ago, my friend drew Aria for me. I'll show the drawing on screen, and I literally love this drawing so much. Like, everything about it is so good. I love their art. It's like so shapy, and I just really like it. I also really liked the drawing itself, that they gave her a weapon. On the side, there's a circular saw blade that I totally didn't have to search up the name of what the weapon was, attached to a long pole. Now, when I saw this, and I saw the writing chopping through the rhythm, I knew that I had to draw it. So at first I was going for a kind of shoujo magical girl magazine cover art. Like, I'm not sure the exact words for them, but I'll show some examples of what I was going for on the screen. So I was going to put text everywhere and like fake sales and stuff, like a real magazine cover, but I didn't end up doing all of that. And I don't really regret not doing it, it just didn't work out that way. I really like how it did turn out though. I did fill up the space on the side by adding the words smashing through the rhythm though, which isn't the quote my friend put on the drawing because I didn't have the drawing with me when I finished it, but whatever, it's close enough, probably. I didn't remember the exact quote, so I just put smashing instead of chopping, but it's okay. So I actually want to kind of try and find out what kind of story Aria would have if she were a magical girl. So if you've been on my channel before, you probably know her story by now, but for those who don't, Aria is a musician who runs a rave in New York. She creates all the music for her rave and is a big workaholic when it comes to her music. I think something I could play around with is her kind heart. So all the workers at her rave are people she found when they were down on their luck. Deja, another character in the game, works for Aria, and Aria found her when she was homeless, kicked out of the house by her parents. And I hope you know, by the way, that I'm making up all of this magical girl story and powers on the spot as I write this script. This is not pre-thought, this is improv. So based on her kindness and her love of music, what would her purpose of being a magical girl be? And what would she fight? I think the purpose could be tied to her weapon. Her weapon, like I said, is a giant saw blade, but it's more than that. There's a giant record on it, and the pole has a needle attached to it that plays the record. So I assume when she's going and fighting, and she has awesome, cool fight scenes, she also has an awesome soundtrack going. So what if every time she lands a good hit on the enemy, the music switches songs? Like, this is totally unrealistic, but let me have joy in my life when coming up with completely unrealistic magical girl weapons that don't align with actual records at all. But whenever she lands a good enough hit on somebody, meaning her blade hits them hard enough, the track on the record buffers and changes to a more intense song. As the fight goes on, if she can't defeat the enemy with her basic attacks, the songs keep getting more and more intense, which boosts her power. Then, since the record plays an album, the last song in the album, the most intense song, is her ultimate move. This is a double-edged sword though, because once she uses up all her songs, she can't fight anymore with her weapon. The record needs to be reset or changed out for another one. She probably has boxes at home of other albums to put on, but that takes time to reset the weapon. I got a bit sidetracked in the purpose for her being a magical girl by getting really into the mechanics of her weapon, but back on track with its purpose. I think that Aria fights creatures who ruin music. In Aria's magical girl world, there are monsters that ruin music. Sirens that lure people down to drown with their beautiful sounds, and that gives music a bad taste. And then mobs of monsters holding megaphones burst people's eardrums so they can't hear Aria's sick beats anymore. And ghosts of salty artists ruin record shops because they're jealous of other musicians' successes over them. That's just a couple of the monsters that are probably in that world, but they're all based around ruining music. So music is under constant attack in this world from monsters who want to take it away, and it's Aria's job to preserve people's high view of music and protect music. So that solves her purpose and what she fights, as well as her weapon logistics. I'd say that all the songs on her weapon are albums that she's made, so she has a constant want to improve her music because the better her albums come out, the more powerful she is. At some point, her music might even attract a crowd like a concert, which might make it really hard for her to fight and not hurt some people entranced by her music so much they don't want to move away from the fight. I'm trying to make sure her weapon has some drawbacks to it, so I don't want her to be completely OP. But I think that is all I have to say for her magical girl form. This is absolutely not canon, but just something fun I wanted to do. There is one last thing I'm missing with this story though. How did she become a magical girl? Now, I might just be being really lazy and not want to come up with an origin story on the fly, or hear me out, I want to see some writers in my comments. So pick whatever you want to believe, whether I'm lazy or whether I want to see some writers, but I want to see what you guys think her origin story is in the comments below. How do you think she became a magical girl? Thank you so much for watching. If you did like the video, you should definitely consider liking, commenting, or even subscribing. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye!